Did you know the way you handle your emotions and actions can either build your reputation or completely destroy it? Respect isn't just about what you achieve, it's about how you achieve it. If you want to earn genuine admiration from others, you need to avoid some of the most common habits that silently sabotage your credibility. From how you react in tough situations to the way you treat others' efforts, every choice you make leaves an impression. Today, we're diving deep into what it really takes to gain respect, maintain integrity, and master self-control. These aren't just life skills, they're the foundation of lasting success and meaningful relationships. Ready to uncover what sets respected individuals apart from the rest? Let's get started. Number 1. The hollow cost of stealing credit. Imagine this. You're in a meeting and your idea is finally being discussed. It's an idea you poured hours into, brainstorming, refining, and perfecting. The team loves it and you're feeling proud. But just as you're ready to step into the spotlight, someone else swoops in, claiming it as their own. That sinking feeling, that knot in your stomach. There's no mistaking it. You've been robbed of your hard-earned recognition. It stings, doesn't it? Now flip the script. Imagine being the person who takes credit for someone else's work. Sure, it might feel like a win in the moment. You might even get a few nods of approval or a pat on the back. But underneath that fleeting sense of triumph lies something far more troubling, a hollow victory. You didn't actually achieve the success you're being praised for. Instead, you've built it on someone else's foundation, and deep down, you know it's not real. Let's take a walk down memory lane. Do you remember group projects in school? There was always that one person who barely contributed, but insisted on sharing the glory when the grades came in. How did that make you feel? Frustrated, cheated, maybe even betrayed? Fast forward to today, and it's not much different. Stealing credit doesn't just undermine the people around you, it undermines your character. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Why do people do it? What drives someone to take shortcuts to success at the expense of others? Is it insecurity, fear of not being good enough, or perhaps a belief that success is a limited resource, something you have to snatch away before someone else does? Whatever the reason, the truth remains the same. Taking credit for someone else's work doesn't make you stronger. It reveals your weaknesses. When you choose this path, you're not just cheating others, you're cheating yourself out of genuine growth and respect. You might win a few battles, but in the war for long-term success and fulfillment, you'll find yourself empty-handed. And the irony? The respect you crave so deeply is rooted in authenticity, something credit stealing completely undermines. Number 2. How credit stealing destroys trust and relationships. Think about the people in your life you trust the most. Maybe it's a parent, a mentor, or a close friend. What makes that bond so strong? Is it their honesty, their fairness, or the way they always acknowledge your efforts? Now imagine if that same person betrayed you by taking credit for something you did. That trust, built over years, would shatter in an instant. This is what happens when you take credit for someone else's work. On the surface, it might seem like a harmless act, but beneath it lies a betrayal that can cut deep. It's not just about the stolen work, it's about what it represents. You're telling someone, your efforts aren't as important as my recognition. It's a form of selfishness that erodes trust like rust on a sturdy bridge. Let's get personal for a moment. Have you ever worked tirelessly on a project, only to have someone else swoop in and take the glory? That sense of being unseen, unappreciated, and undervalued, it's painful. Now imagine inflicting that same pain on someone else. It's not just a blow to their self-esteem, it's a breach of the unspoken social contract that says, I see you, I value you. What's more, the damage doesn't stop there. Once people see you as someone who doesn't give credit where it's due, they start to question your motives. Colleagues become hesitant to collaborate with you. Friends keep their distance. Even casual acquaintances begin to see you in a different light. The label of a credit stealer sticks, and trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to rebuild. Here's the thing. Relationships are built on mutual respect and recognition. When you undermine someone's hard work for your own gain, you're not just harming them. You're harming the foundation of your connection. And over time, this habit will leave you isolated, surrounded by people who no longer trust you enough to share their ideas, their efforts, or their respect. But here's a question to ponder. Is the short-term gain of stolen credit worth the long-term loss of trust and respect? Think about the opportunities you're closing off, the relationships you're damaging, and the bridges you're burning. The cost is far greater than you might realize. Number 3. The long-term damage of undermining others. Picture this. You're climbing a ladder, reaching for the stars. Each rung represents your hard work, your effort, and your achievements. Now imagine stepping on someone else's fingers to pull yourself up. You might gain a little height, but at what cost? And what happens when you look down and realize you've alienated everyone who helped you get there? This is the reality of undermining others. It's a short-sighted strategy that might bring temporary success, but leaves a trail of resentment and burnt bridges in its wake. You might not notice the damage immediately, but over time it becomes impossible to ignore. Take a moment to reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever felt undervalued or overlooked because someone else took credit for your work? That gnawing feeling of unfairness stays with you, doesn't it? Now think about what happens when you're the one doing the undermining. It's not just a one-time act, it's the beginning of a reputation. And once that reputation takes hold, it's almost impossible to shake. Here's a story that might sound familiar. A talented colleague at work constantly undermined others, taking credit for ideas and pushing their own agenda. For a while, it seemed to work. They were promoted, praised, and celebrated. But over time, people started to notice the pattern. Trust eroded, collaborations fell apart, and opportunities began to dry up. Eventually, they found themselves on an island of their own making, isolated and without allies. It's a cautionary tale, but it's not uncommon. The long-term damage of undermining others goes beyond the professional realm. It seeps into friendships, family dynamics, and even your self-esteem. Because deep down, you know the success you've built isn't truly yours. But here's the twist. The very act of undermining others often stems from insecurity. It's a defense mechanism, a way to mask self-doubt and fear of inadequacy. Yet, in trying to protect yourself, you end up doing more harm than good, not just to others, but to your own growth and potential. So, why do it? Why risk the long-term fallout for a fleeting moment of glory? It's a question worth pondering, especially when you consider the alternative. Because the truth is, success built on collaboration, mutual respect, and genuine effort is not only more rewarding, it's unshakable. Number 4. Why giving credit amplifies your success. Think about the last time you worked on something as part of a team. Maybe it was a group project in school, a workplace initiative, or even a community event. At the end of it all, someone stood up and said, "We couldn't have done this without you." Remember how that made you feel, the sense of pride, belonging, and motivation to keep going. That's the power of giving credit. Here's the irony. So many people fear that giving credit to others will somehow diminish their own success. But the reality is the opposite. When you share the spotlight, you're not just lifting others up. You're elevating yourself as a leader, someone secure and confident in their own abilities. It's a trait that people notice and respect. Let's dive into a scenario that hits close to home for many. Imagine your manager at work takes the time to acknowledge the specific contributions of each team member during a meeting. Now imagine a manager who glosses over everyone's effort and takes all the credit themselves. Which one are you more likely to go the extra mile for? Which one earns your loyalty and trust? Giving credit isn't just about fairness. It's about creating an environment where everyone feels valued. When people feel seen, they're more likely to bring their best ideas and energy to the table. And when you're the one fostering that environment, you naturally become someone people want to work with, follow, and support. Here's a relatable twist. Have you ever been at a family gathering where someone cooked a delicious meal and another family member casually mentioned, "Oh, I helped chop the vegetables," even if they didn't? It might seem minor, but that tiny moment of acknowledgement can make someone's day. It's proof that giving credit doesn't just apply to the workplace. It's a principle that can transform all aspects of your life. Now, here's something to think about. Why are we so hesitant to give credit? Is it fear of being overlooked, a need to prove our worth, or is it simply habit? Whatever the reason, breaking free from this mindset is one of the most liberating and empowering things you can do. When you realize that lifting others up doesn't take anything away from you, it changes everything. Number 5. Emotional reactivity, a barrier to respect. We've all been there. You're in the middle of a heated argument, and before you know it, you've said something you regret. Or maybe you've slammed a door, stormed off, or even sent a scathing email in the heat of the moment. At the time, it might feel justified, a release of pent-up frustration. But later, when the dust settles, you're left with the nagging realization that your outburst didn't solve anything. Worse, it might have damaged your relationships and your reputation. Let's take a step back. Why do we react so strongly in certain situations? Often, it's because we feel threatened, whether it's our ego, our sense of control, or our self-worth. When someone criticizes us or things don't go our way, it can feel like a personal attack. And in those moments, emotions take the wheel. Now think about the people you admire most. Are they the ones who lose their cool at the slightest provocation? Or are they the ones who stay calm and composed, even in the face of chaos? Emotional control is a hallmark of true strength, and it's one of the key factors that earns respect. Here's a story that might resonate. A colleague once shared how they almost lost an important client because of an emotional outburst. Frustrated by a miscommunication, they fired off an angry email without taking a moment to cool down. The result? A damaged relationship that took months to rebuild. They learned the hard way that reacting emotionally rarely leads to positive outcomes. But this isn't just about avoiding outbursts. It's about understanding how emotional reactivity affects the way people perceive you. When you're quick to anger, quick to tears, or quick to any extreme response, it sends a message that you're not in control. And let's face it, no one respects someone who can't control their emotions. Here's where it gets relatable. We've all had moments where we wish we could hit undo. Maybe it was snapping at a loved one, overreacting to a minor inconvenience, or letting stress get the better of us. These moments are part of being human, but they're also opportunities for growth. Because the truth is, emotional reactivity isn't a sign of passion, it's a sign of insecurity. Number 6. Building respect through self-control and integrity. Imagine you're in the middle of a high-pressure situation. Maybe it's a tough meeting at work, an argument with a friend, or even just a stressful day. Everything in you wants to react, to lash out, shut down, or let your emotions take over. But instead you pause, you take a breath, collect your thoughts, and respond calmly and thoughtfully. Now picture the people around you. How do they react to your composure? Chances are they're impressed. Self-control is one of the most underrated yet powerful traits you can have. It's not about suppressing your emotions, it's about mastering them. When you can stay grounded in the face of adversity, you send a clear message: you're strong, reliable, and in control. And that's the kind of person people respect. Think about a time when someone kept their cool under pressure. Maybe it was a teacher who diffused a tense classroom, a friend who stayed calm during a crisis, or a leader who navigated a difficult situation with grace. Didn't that make you admire them more? Their self-control wasn't just impressive, it was inspiring. Here's the twist. Self-control isn't just about how others perceive you, it's about how you perceive yourself. When you let emotions dictate your actions, you often end up feeling regretful or ashamed. But when you handle situations with integrity and composure, you build self-respect. And that's the foundation for earning respect from others. Here's a moment of relatability. Have you ever had an argument with someone only to realize later that you were more upset about something else entirely? Maybe it was stress from work, an unresolved issue, or even just a bad day. Emotional reactivity often stems from deeper insecurities, but mastering your emotions can break that cycle. Integrity ties into this as well. When you're consistent in your actions and words, when you do what's right even when it's hard, people notice. They trust you, they admire you, and they respect you. And in a world where respect is hard-earned and easily lost, that's a quality worth cultivating. Respect is a currency that takes time to earn, but can be lost in an instant. It's not about perfection or always having the right answers. It's about showing integrity, lifting others up, and controlling your emotions when it matters most. These habits we've discussed today aren't just about how others see you, they're about how you see yourself. True respect starts from within, and it's built by the consistent choices you make every single day. Drop a 100 if you've made it this far. This shows you're part of the 0.01% who truly commit to self-improvement and finishing what they start. If you're serious about transforming your mindset and leveling up your life, make sure to join our community by hitting that subscribe button. Let's grow and achieve greatness together.